Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Jaclyn Strominger. And welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Caroline, thank you so much for having me. I am doing absolutely phenomenal. It's like great start to my day.
Yes, it is a great day, I can tell you that. And I would love to introduce you to the audience, of course. You are the founder of Leap to Your Success and a high achiever success coach with over 30 years of experience. You are committed to helping ambitious professionals unlock their full potential and achieve transformative growth and fulfillment in both business and life. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Jaclyn Strominger.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, so
Today, I
good.
have to tell you, I was just talking to somebody about leadership, and we were talking about some great things. So I'm so jazzed right now.
Oh, wow. I love that. You wake up in the morning, you talk about leadership. What a beautiful beginning for the day. Okay, my first question to you. What inspired you to start Leap to Your Success, and how do you define a strategic leap in business and life?
uh, all right. So, what inspired me to start Leap to Your Success? I'll take that one. So,
Mhm.
what inspired me is a couple of different things. So, first and foremost, I realized, I was on the path, I had this, path or journey that I was on when I went to college. I'm like, I'm going to go to school. And I fell in love with, I did internships and programs and whatever. And I fell in love with magazine publishing. I'm going to get my job in consumer marketing. And I did all of those things. But there was a big but. At some point I lost after, it was like I moved, I got married, or I should say I married, I got moved, had kids. And there was stuff along the way that I was like feeling there was lots of starts and stops and starts and stops, right? And even though I had this idea of what I wanted when I graduated college, some of that was, as I was in my career, that pedestal of where I wanted to go changed. And I wasn't sure how to change the pedestal or move it. And so it took me a while to figure that out. And then, as I was in my career, there was a few like major aha moments where one was, in a meeting with two other coworkers, and one coworker said to the other coworker, that's not going to be great for you. That's probably not going to be a great career move. And it was like, oh, my career. I forgot about the career. Like, where am I going? And then there was another, aha moment not far from that, where I was driving my kids to, their school, because, it was like a 20-minute drive. And it was almost like the car was driving itself. But I was in the car, and I was forgetting my own vision and my mission and my passion. And so there were two defining moments. And so I made huge changes. And so for me, what what I realized is that I know I'm not alone. And I know that I would bet that there are probably other people who have that or have those moments where they're just like, what am I doing? Am I on the right path? Or here is my business. I have been chugging along and it's growing. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, where are we going? Like, where's the evolution? And so I just was like, I want to help businesses and people manifest their growth and always have a path of achievement, to take those leaps to greater success and not get stuck like I did on the wheel.
You can also say in a loop, right? Are you
Right.
in a,
Right. You're just like,
in a wheel?
you're just, you could be driving yourself. And I
Yeah.
think it happens a lot in, a lot of businesses do amazing things, right? But we, as leaders and in leadership, what ends up happening is we write our vision and our mission statement down when we start our businesses, and we are really, really great, and the growth happens. And then you might be 5 years down the road. And this was me. I had my vision and my mission for what I wanted. And then I'm like 10 years into it and I forgot about it. Not that it just, life was happening. And the same thing happens with businesses. And so I just love helping people grasp that vision and their mission and create great leadership both within themselves and in their companies, because it inspires the people around you and your team.
I love that. It's like holding the vision or also holding them accountable for their goals. Of
Yeah.
course, we will talk about that later. And I have another question for
Yeah.
you. Can you share a success story where you helped a client achieve a significant breakthrough in their personal or professional life?
Yes. So I have a couple things. I'll share. I'll share one story about a company, and actually, it actually goes back to their vision and mission. My client wrote their vision, their mission statement when they started their business, and 10 years in, he lost passion for the business. So I had him rewrite his vision and mission statement. And it's amazing what happens because we evolve, and as we evolve, our businesses evolve. And so he was able to be more inspired and inspire his team. And all of a sudden, he's closing more deals, he's connecting with more people. And so we're seeing this path, the trajectory go from being flat. Oh, look at that, right? That's going back up. And today, he looks at me, he's like, I love the fact that we were able to work together because it's changed the trajectory of my business. And and similarly with another client of mine, she's a solopreneur, and she has this she's amazing mortgage broker, but she didn't have the right direction or accountability. And so now we've been working together, and she went from closing like maybe one deal every couple of months. Last month she closed 3 deals. And I'm like, whoa, right? Like, and so you can see changes in people, and changes in businesses, and watching that transformation. I mean, you know, that's like the greatest, like that's like the MasterCard moment. That's priceless. Like to see the inspiration and the power behind people.
This is the greatest gift or yeah, you can get. And what are your gifts and talents,
Right.
especially in helping them?
Well, for me, it's like one of the things that we try to do. Like I feel like I'm a huge connector, but the other thing too is I really can help bring out people that we help bring out people's strengths, right? Or we actually help. I love being able to look at people's businesses and get have those breakthroughs of of going through the uncomfortable things, getting out of our comfort zones and getting out of that zone and making that uncomfortable become comfortable. And that's where growth happens. So another client, she's in a sales position, and she's in real estate, and realtors have to pick up the phone and call people and say hello. And she's like, I don't want it to be creepy. And I'm like, well, number one, you don't want it to be creepy, so it won't be creepy because you won't, a creepy person is not going to make something creepy, but it's also your perception. But I like, let's find the words that work for you. Everybody has a voice. We just have to help them find their voice.
That is a great advice. I love what you shared. She didn't want to call people, so you say this is exactly what we do. I know there is a book called The Obstacle is the Way, right?
Right,
Maybe
right,
it's like that.
right. Well,
Mhm.
the funniest thing is too is finding our voice. And I'm going to share a kid's book. There's an amazing kids book called Ellison the Elephant. Okay. Ellison the Elephant is all about Ellison, who's this great elephant, cute little guy. He can't make the trumpet sound like the others. He just can't do it. And so he goes out. His mom's like says to him, go practice. You're good. So he goes out on his own. He has an imaginary friend and he's practicing and he's finding that and he makes a sound different from the other trumpet sounds. And so he went from being teased by the other elephants to the other elephants loving his sound because he was able to produce this amazing, jazzy, musically driven, beautiful trumpet sound. And all of a sudden, all the other elephants wanted his sound. And it's like finding your unique voice and be unique. And because everybody, we can be in a crowd, but how do you break free? You have to find your voice.
Absolutely. And then when you found it, then to make it sound, right?
Right, right, and keep going with it. Use it, you know? And so anyway, it's when I hear it, so I read the book and there's a CD with the book too, and the sound with the music, it always just like makes me smile because it's like, oh, go Ellison, right? And like, yeah, and the music is beautiful and we all have a beautiful voice. We just have to find that within ourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. I have to look up this book, of course. And what are some common challenges high achievers face, and how do you guide them to overcome these obstacles? Of course, we talked already about calling. What else
You know,
is
I think I think one of the biggest things high achiever there's a couple of things I think high achievers face. Number one, imposter syndrome is a huge thing. I think a lot of people have that. And so a lot of that, what I do when people have that imposter syndrome is that we're looking at um, we we work really hard on the mindset and the shifts of reminding them that of what they have done super super well, and that every great leader has that imposter syndrome, but remember where they've come and what they do. And so we kind of work through gratitude, and we work through being aware of what they're doing and sort of creating like an awareness journal. And it's really great. So I think that's one of the big challenges. And the other sort of big challenge for high achievers is they know they're here and they want to do more, but how do we just go up a little bit? So it's really looking at, there's so many books around this, but it's whether you're talking about 10x or you're talking about um, compound or what. I mean, we really work together on finding the key focus that they need to keep them going, to get to that extra 1%. And where is that going to take them, and what steps and do we need to take to overcome an obstacle that they're facing? It could be calling, it could be their team, it could be inspiring themselves, it could be time management. So there could be something in their day-to-day that is stopping them, or maybe they're doing too much of one thing. So we really try to break down their actions so we can find the key thing that they need to focus on to get above that 1%.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. I understood. You talked about gratitude and an awareness journal. I love that so much. And to focus on the next, or yeah, the next 1%, right?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, oh, I 10x, I 100x at the same time or at once. Of course, thank you for sharing. And do you have, like, because you mentioned it, how important is a morning routine or an evening routine?
Oh God, I talk about bookending your day with routines. So think of like your day as a bookend. And I'm going to tell you, like, there are some days my bookend routines don't go the way that I want them to go, but it's having that routine in the morning, is I find is really important. Like, I personally get up every single day, my alarm goes off, and I get on a Peloton. I do some form of physical movement, and then I'm grabbing the coffee, and then I've got a couple of different books that I read. So I might be, read a few pages, or I might listen to some if I've taken my dog for a walk. I'm a big listener, love Audible. And then your end routine, like what do you do at night? What are you doing to calm your and end your day? You know, you hear people say this all the time, and I think it's really, really true that your evening routine is also meant to help you set yourself up for a good night's sleep, but also to set your next day forward. It helps, and I'm a big writer, like in the sense of, yes, take your calendar, put it electronically so you can quickly look at your calendar. But I also believe in writing it. Write out your calendar, because there's a connection from your brain to the pen to the paper that doesn't happen when you go from your brain to the computer.
Absolutely. And I can add something to that because what I learned is like when you write it down and you have it on paper, this is the first step to the, let's say, actualization is the word, or realization that it's already done when you see it, you hold it in your hand, right?
Yeah. Yes, it's true. And it's when we write things down, it's funny, like, I know my schedule and I can tell you but I still, even though I know I'm going to work out in the morning, I write out on my calendar, workout. I still write it out. It's it's still there, because then I also know that it also holds me accountable. I wrote it down. I need to do it.
I think it's important because if there's space in your calendar, then it can be taken by someone else or something else. Of
Yeah.
course, if there is white space or something, blank pages.
Yeah. Right, right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
no, that's
true.
true. So
Thank
true.
you so much. So you help people achieving their goals. And what about your own goals? Do you set goals or intentions? And what is one of your next projects?
Oh God, I do set goals. So, and intentions. So there's a lot of great things. So I've set a goal basically for myself that I want to work with, five great companies, to help them in their leadership, um, and help them have, you know, obviously improve sales, greater customer, overall arching, inside company culture, but really to help companies level up, starting with the leadership, because I think leadership is so important. So that's like a goal with like companies that I want to work with. Um, but I have started my own podcast, the Unstoppable Leadership Spotlight, and it's influential leaders and their game changing insights. So that's a project that I've been thinking about and wanting to share. So that's out there. So if there's a leader out there, jump on. And then I actually have started. I'm a really big. I'm really, really into. I guess it's like one of my biggest passions is helping people really and truly define their vision and their mission, because I truly believe each and every one of us is the CEO of themselves. So I invite everybody to, book a complimentary call with me so I can help them do that.
Oh, thank you so much. This is so generous. And this would be my next question as well. When people reach out to you, and please reach out to Jaclyn, she's amazing. Where can we find you?
If you go to my website, leaptoyoursuccess.com,
Mhm.
so it's the word leap, LEAPTOYOURSUCCESS, leaptoyoursuccess.com. Go there. And then actually, when you do that, people should be able to have a digital version. It's the Unstoppable Achievers Journal. But I have a digital version of this, and it actually takes you through crafting your Mission Unstoppable Blueprint. It takes you through crafting, your mission map, finding out. There's a lot of, there's a lot of great um, exercises in here to help you become unstoppable. So I always say, grab this, and then book a call so we can go through the exercises. That's really important. And then find me on the socials. But you know, if you're a leader and you want to jump on my podcast, you can easily click the podcast link on my website too.
Wow, I love that. It's easy. So thank you so much. I will look it up and put the links in the show notes, of course. Thank you for our interview. And now it's time for your last thoughts to the audience, please.
So one thing I just love to share is that remember, you are the CEO of you and your life, and that you know that your vision and your mission for your life is important. It's and write it out and look at it often and have something that you can look at every day that inspires you to be the best you.
Wow, this was amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for our interview.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Great questions.
Thank you and see you in the next episode.